All right, first nine here on my side of the bag today. PGA season start in Hawaii. Century Tournament of Champions, Hideki your winner. And then at the Sony, a bit of a switcheroo at the end of regulation where the two guys in the final group were kind of running away with it for a while. And then all of a sudden, the two guys in the next to last group, Nico Echeverria and, of course, the ultimate winner, Nick Taylor, end up making eagle and birdie respectively on 18 to get themselves into a playoff. Nick Taylor would end up winning that playoff with a birdie. And what are your thoughts on the first two events out in the Aloha State?
Yeah, you got to make birdies if you want to win, kids. I think that is number one thing to take away. We have so many friends of the show. We just had Willie Wilcox on with Sanjay that played so good at the Century, but yet looked like he showed up at a different golf course than Colin and the Ultra winner Hideki. So I think it's been off to a great season to see what Nick Taylor done last week. I mean, the kids just got gallstones, and he's becoming, I think, maybe the perfect answer to who you don't want to see in a playoff because he just gets the job done and makes so many clutch birdies when you need to. But I think it's been off to a great start. I've watched and been glued in both Sundays. I know maybe we haven't had the big names that the PGA has wanted down the stretch, which maybe has hurt viewership a little bit. But ultimately, the golf is still really, really good. And I think we're off to a really good start. And I'm expecting another birdie fest as we look to the American Express here in Palm Springs. And so I think this start's been pretty good.
Yeah, I was texting with our buddy Mark Cairns before the Sony about coming on the show and doing an episode with us, and he said, let me go win the Sony, and then I'll come on the show."
He almost did.
And boy, I thought he was going to be prophetic there, and then a little bit of an oopsie there on 18, maybe missing in the wrong spot, not able to get up and down for the birdie that would have eventually gotten him into a playoff. But still, a great week for JJ Spawn and our man Mark Cairns. We will see him soon here on my side of the bag. All right. Both major American tours looking for a leader. Do we have any news to report from either one of those, the PGA search for a CEO or the LPGA search to replace Molly as commissioner?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can speak to the PGA side of it, but I haven't really heard anything other than Jay coming out and make that announcement at the end of the year. So I'll just start directly to the LPGA side of it. I'm not expecting to have anything done anytime soon. The emails that I've personally got about going overseas into Asia have all been signed by Liz Moore, and them coming from Donna, who is in charge of the LPGA Player Services. Not a real mention of Molly in any of the leadership talks. I don't think she's necessarily scheduled to be on the scene at TOC or Founders or any of the first couple tournaments of the year. So the only thing that we really have heard is that they've now created this committee made up of quite a few individuals, to mostly board members. Stacey Lewis is on that board, and these board members to hire the next commissioner. It's a little pause for concern, just if I'm being honest with you. That three of those members were on the same committee that hired Molly. So, it doesn't feel like it's a big change. And so we're just kind of waiting. And I would suspect we'll have something before Chevron in the first major, but kind of all.
Which is third week of April?
Correct. Yeah. So that's kind of, I'm thinking March, April is when we'll hire someone, and we'll kind of own the media landscape for a week or two and own the first major and come out and announce our new commissioner.
So Alec Baldwin, she heads the Corn Ferry Tour, and she was in the ring with the last search and pulled out when she got the Corn Ferry job.
Okay.
Obviously, you would look at that as a stepping stone for her to maybe go to PGA Tour headquarters.
Sure.
But man, it seems like a great opportunity to have a female who's now led on the PGA Tour come and lead on the LPGA. I was caddying on the LPGA 20-something years ago when Carolyn Bivens was approached by the PGA Tour to come under their umbrella, and she denied it. Big mistake. Maybe Alex Baldwin can be the answer to that question. This time around, she was a top candidate last time. She's now leading a golf tour, so certainly has the resume, I think, to take over the helm at the LPGA headquarters. As far as the CEO search for the PGA, I don't have any news to report, but I can tell you Theo Epstein
Yeah.
did give a presentation to the players last year. Um, I believe somewhere late in the season, maybe even the playoffs. And he is certainly a guy who's been in leadership in baseball, knows how to lead a sports organization, and could be a little bit of an outside the box hire for the PGA Tour, just bringing in mass media, looking at things again a little bit out of golf's niche, bringing a guy in a little bit more major sports experience.
And to that, obviously SSG, which is part of Fenway Sports now, the overseeing
Correct.
Theo has ties to the Fenway Sports Group, which is now a massive investor into the PGA Tour. So it would like being bringing in one of their own. So there's
Well, it is one of their own. He has
yeah,
ownership stake. So again, this would be, basically a minority shareholder taking over as chairman of the board.
correct.
And wouldn't be, I think, a bad thing right now. PGA's on a pretty rough string of news, especially with Live coming out, and we're moving to hole number 3.
Yeah,
Live News going to announce actually later today, confirm with a couple of sources, they have actually signed their deal with Fox.
yeah. I
And
mean,
Fox is going to broadcast on all their different platforms. Fox News might even have a part to do with this. Fox Sports One. They've got a lot of different platforms, a lot of different ways to bring you golf, just like NBC and CBS does. So this is giving a lot of legitimacy to Live as we start 2025. And the news from last week was Eugenio Chikara, who I know and I do communicate with, admitting a little bit of buyer's remorse, going to Live,
mhm.
not getting out of Live what he wanted, other than the 16 million they gave him. He wanted world ranking points and opportunities in majors. He has, I think, yet to play in a major since he joined Live.
Correct.
And I don't know if he played in a major as an amateur, maybe qualified for a U.S. Open as an amateur. But I have to go back and look at the record. But again, a little bit of buyer's remorse from Eugenio, stepping away from Live, leaving the Fireballs team led by Sergio Garcia. And now he's got to, I think, serve at least a 1-year suspension as long as we don't have a unification of the sport. I think Eugenio's hoping for a unification sooner rather than later so he could begin maybe doing Monday qualifiers and getting his tools sharpened ahead of Q School later in 2025 and maybe not have to serve that entire year suspension. But Fox News getting a Live contract, big news this week for those guys.
Yeah, big news. I literally just woke up and we're seeing the news of it this morning. So it was literally the first thing I saw on my phone is that contract, according to most sources now, I think Front Office Sports was the people that announced it. Have that deal's been signed. We'll have the reactions out of the golf community come on, and more people will write about it. I'm sure there'll be something in Golf Week later today. But yes, just more legitimacy to that organization. We heard what Nico came out and said. You heard what Rory came out and said about Tom McGibbon, who is his childhood friend, who looks like he's, is going to, make his start and play full-time Live. So, I think we're in a position now when we're looking back, 3.5, 4 years into this thing of Live, and they're there, right? Like they've created what they want. They have a new CEO. Greg Norman is no longer, the ringmaster of this, which a lot of people, if you look back, have said the first thing was that Greg had to go. Well, now Greg's still there, but he's not the CEO anymore, so he's not the ultimate decision maker. And so I think all of these moves, being on Fox, getting Greg out of that role, getting some of these guys, have all just legitimized Live. And like the only thing they're missing is world rankings, which, we had John Rahm come out this week and say, if you don't give us world ranking points by now, then no one takes you seriously, basically. So I think we're at a point where I think unification is coming. The timeline of that, who knows, right? I don't think Jay's in a position to really want to do that quicker than he has to. But I think the writings on the wall, the tea leaves are there. Lives here to stay. What that looks like, we don't know. But at the very least, I think we have a golf organization now that you can go watch and is going to take more viewership and more eyeballs away every Saturday and Sunday from the PGA Tour.
This is the first nine, sponsored by Birdie Brands and Uncle Keith's Red Sauce, and we are now moving to hole number 4, and this is where Scotty, I'm going to lean on him. This is the LPGA season preview.
Sure.
We've been talking about Live and PGA. What can we expect from the LPGA in 2025?
I think really, really exciting for the season. We've come out with, I think, our best schedule as long as I've been part of the LPGA. Look at our major venues of where we're going to Erin Hills for the U.S. Open, going to, Royal Port Crawl, which had the seniors 3 years ago in Wales for the Open Championship. And again, putting together this massive schedule, it's the best that I've seen. I think legitimizes us. We're coming off the backs of world number one Nelly Korda winning 7 times. We've had her caddy Jay McD here on, so I think she's going to pick up right where she left off. I don't think she's going anywhere. I'm excited about some new blood, some new talent, including the person that I work for coming into the LPGA. Every purse across the cabinet is up, so we're playing for more money. I'm so excited to get ready here to TOC and then into the Founders Tournament in Bradenton in starting in 12 days, 15 days. So something, I couldn't be more excited about the LPGA season.
There's been a couple of reports lately of who's going to help Nelly, who's going to step up and kind of take the lead.
Yeah,
I feel like Charlie Hull's trying to do a good job pulling on her side of the Atlantic. Nelly's pulling on her side. Gino
yep,
did a really good job winning the final tournament. So we do have a global face of LPGA right now, pulling from different parts of the world, and I think that may help the product moving forward. I still would like to see more of the Fortune 500 that's led by women teamed up with the LPGA. I feel like we're kind of missing some low hanging fruit there by not going to those female CEOs
correct.
and other CEOs that have been friendly to the LPGA and maybe getting the money a little quicker, closer to the guys. I don't think they can get where the guys are at this point, not at that rapid of a pace, but I think they can get closer to the tennis model than they think they can right
Right,
now.
and why are we not playing for equal money at majors and start there? Right,
Right.
like why are
Right.
we? Why do we have to have the USGA presented by a presenting sponsor? Why do we have to have the PGA Championship presented by KPMG? Like these majors, to me, those are easy wins, and just really put pressure on the PGA of America and the USGA. Like everyone wants to talk about this, but why haven't we called out the USGA or the PGA of America for not putting up equal prizes? Right? They're as guilty as anyone. So like we could start there. Also on the who's stepping up to really bring the LPGA a hold. Obviously, I think the commissioner will be a big hire, and who we decide to get to help that. But also, I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about one of your old bosses who won't be with us every week, in Alexi Thompson, who now, looks super happy, just got engaged. I think that we're going to really miss her. I think that's a massive hole on the LPGA side, especially from the American side, that, I think we're going to miss a lot of fans and a lot of young people coming out that were huge Lexi fans to watch the way that she played golf. And I think we're going to really, really miss that week to week.
I don't have any inside information from Lexi herself. I want to state that first. My personal opinion is you're going to see a couple of life changes happen off the course, and then you might see her back in a year or two because she'll miss it, but she'll
Yeah.
also want to start a new chapter of her life and then bring that out on tour and learn what that's like. She's seen other players that she's grown up with, like a Stacy Lewis, who I think would be a pretty good commissioner, by the way.
Yeah.
See her bring her daughter out on tour and kind of try to be a mom on tour. I think that could be in my crystal ball.
Yeah.
I see Lexi trying to maybe be a mom and a wife out on tour in a couple of years and still a big part of the tour because she does know that she does put a lot of rear ends in seats.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I think she'll be back in some capacity at some point. But listen, I think she's I don't want to compare, but I think there's like the Tiger Woods effect that like wherever Lexi wants to play, whenever, like just give her a spot because people will come watch. So whatever Tiger wants to play in for the rest of his life, give him a spot. Whatever Lexi wants to play in for the rest of her life, just give her a spot.
And you know what? That may be one of the first handful of conversations the new commissioner needs to have
Yeah,
is with somebody like Alexi. Say, hey, we would love to have you around. You're great for our product. You do move the needle. So let's see how we can be mutually beneficial in moving forward.
absolutely.
Okay. Hole number 5 on our first 9, LPGA major predictions. We're going to predict major champs and team and individual champs for live as we go. But let's just start with LPGA major predictions. There's 5
Yep,
majors on the LPGA calendar.
yep.
I've got mine in the order I think they'll win. I don't know if you have it the same way,
Just
but
I
we'll
just have
start
the
with the
order.
Chevron.
I just have that the order that they come on the calendar. Do you want?
Right. So Chevron is first.
Yep.
Who do we think's going to win that?
Uh,
And we, by the way, we're going to clip this. We're going to save it,
Love it.
and we're going to come back to this in December, and we're going to see how well these have aged.
Okay. For Chevron, first major tournament of the year on the calendar, I'm gonna go with Nelly Korda.
I go with Gino Titicol. She won the biggest event to end last year, the CME, and I think she's going to win the biggest event to start 2025 and get her first major win.
Okay.
All right. Now we move to number 2, which is the U.S. Open. I've already made my prediction in a previous episode for our hardcore listeners,
Yes.
but I'll let you go ahead and lead this off at Erin Hills Big Ballpark in
And
southern Wisconsin.
and I've made a prediction about Erin Hills as well for all of our listeners.
Yes, you have. So you're Lilia Vu,
I got Lilia Vu too.
and I'm Charlie Hall. All right. So now we're moving on to number 3, which is it the KPMG?
Correct. Yeah, in June, KPMG at Field Ranch in Dallas, Texas, the new PGA home.
Frisco. Yeah, Frisco.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with the local girl.
Ooh.
I'm going with Celine Boutier.
Ooh.
She lives out there, practices at Trinity Forest.
Correct.
And I think she will handle the venue and the weather better than anybody with her experience playing there day after day.
Okay, that's a good one. This is one I would love to pick my own boss, but I'm not going to cheapen the show by doing that. So I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick Lynn Grant. I'm gonna keep it in Sweden. I'm gonna pick Lynn Grant to win the KPMG at Field Ranch. I think it's gonna be windy. I think it's gonna be very kind of European style of golf with links. A ball's gonna roll forever. Yeah, I'm going Lynn Grant.
If you don't get any rain in Texas in the middle portion of the year, it does happen. They do get a little weather there.
Everyone that plays in Dallas can attest to this. It is the only city that has the worst weather every single day. There's no good weather in Dallas. So it's just shit every day. It could be 95 and awful. It could be 30 snow on the ground. So I think there's snow on the ground right now. So it's the only city that just has the worst weather.
All right, moving over to the European leg major championships. We start in Evian-les-Bains, France.
Yep.
Where Scotty had a really good experience last year with Ingrid. That's my pick to win this year.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm picking you to win a major in France, 4th major of the year. Ingrid Lindblad picks up her first major of her professional career.
Wouldn't that be something? But again, I'm not going to pick myself. I'm going to pick someone that should have probably won it last year. I'm going to take LC, Lauren Coughlin, to win at Evian this year.
Okay. And now the 5th major, Royal Porthcawl, like you talked about a little earlier, 5th major of the year in Wales, so over on the southwestern corner of the British Isles.
The map, literally.
Who's your pick?
Okay, I'm going another Euro. I'm going Charlie Hall to win this one.
Okay. All right, so we both picked Charlie to win one, just different majors. I'm going to go with our man Cole Pinsanti, runner-up last year at the Open. I think he and his boss Lilia Vu get it done in Wales and pick up the Open Championship. on the women's side. So we will clip that,
Yep.
we will save it, and we will see how accurate we are in a
Can we
few
do
months.
this? Can we do this? Can we put something online? Can we put like a coffee or a Venmo or like a good piece of red meat on the line for whoever does better?
Yeah, I mean, good piece of red meat sounds good, but we actually have to be in the same room in order to do that.
I have a
And I don't think we've been in the same room in about a year and a half.
I've got a feeling we're gonna get in the same room sometime
Well,
this
that
year.
sure would be nice. All right, let's put a piece of red meat on all of these because we're
Okay.
doing them all.
Okay.
So we've got 9 men's majors, and then we'll do the individual and live champion. So that's 11 picks. So whoever gets the most accurate,
Okay.
that's who gets a nice piece of red meat on the other guy. All right, hole number 6 in our first 9, our PGA Major
Yeah.
Championship predictions. We'll start with the Masters.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep the name and say you call me worldwide, Scotty. I'm gonna go world number 1, Scotty Scheffler. Which, by the
Okay.
way, would give Ty Ted as the most green jackets as a caddy.
Iron Man Avery is
Yeah.
that? Yeah, he's got 5. So yeah,
Correct.
Ted with 5. Boy, geez, just winning 4 is pretty awesome. I got Ludwig runner up last year. He doesn't have a weakness,
Correct.
and I think he's played the last couple years with little nagging injuries. Maybe he stays healthy and doesn't have to deal with that. And again, just it's about consistency, and that he does that better than anybody. So I've got Ludwig
Great
slipping
pick.
on the green jacket this year. Number 2, we are going to Quail Hollow
Charlotte.
for the PGA.
You want to go first?
Justin Thomas.
Oh,
The last time was Justin Thomas the last winner. The last time we had the PGA there.
last time we had
I believe
last
so.
time we had a major there. You're correct.
Yes, last time we played the PGA there, JT was your winner. Need a lot of consistency at Quail Hollow. Who you got?
I mean, there's no one that plays that golf course better than the Irishman Rory McIlroy. So I know he's the betting favorite in Vegas right now, but I think you would be not a smart person to not pick him at Quail Hollow. So Rory McIlroy.
I am not picking Rory, so I guess I'm not a smart person. I'm going to take our last guest, Willie Wilcox,
Whoa!
and his man Sanjay M
There
to
you
win
go.
the PGA Championship. You have to be consistent. You have to hit it where you're looking there. Nobody does that better than Sanjay.
Yep.
So I got Ludwig winning the Masters, Sanjay winning the PGA, and now we move to the U.S. Open at Oakmont, southwestern corner of Pennsylvania. 10th time they're hosting the U.S. Open. That's the most of any golf course. Who do you have winning at Oakmont this year?
Yeah, I'll reverse it. I'll keep it in Sweden. Our boy Joe Skovron gets it done with his boss Ludwig Uberg for the championship.
So I walked at Pinehurst with the next to last group, Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay on Sunday. Ludwig was in the group in front of us.
Mhm.
So I got to see a lot of Ludwig's shot, including his out of bounds shot out of the bunker on number 2. I'm not sure he's going to be able to exercise those demons that quickly at a U.S. Open, but I'm going to take one of the guys I walked with. I'm going to take Pat Cantlay
Oh,
and Joe LaCava winning a U.S. Open. I think it's time for Pat to break through. I think Oakmont is a perfect place for it. I think it's about strategy at Oakmont. It's not about length.
yeah.
It's about positioning yourself on the greens. And I feel like Patrick and Joe will do a fantastic job of that. So Pat Cantlay, your U.S. Open winner in 2025. Now we move to Royal Portrush.
Yeah.
And boy, you talk about a Rubik's Cube of weather. You could get anything over there. Shane Lowry.
Yeah, last time.
Amazing story. The local guy winning last time we were at Portrush. Who do you have picking up the claret jug?
Yeah. I think this one goes to the live side of things. I'm taking John Rahm, Adam Hayes to get this one done.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go with another former guest of our show. I'm going to go with Rev and JT winning the
Whoa.
Open.
Okay, I like
Matt
it.
Minister leading his man to the promised land. He's already said he loves it there. You know, JT loves it there. Rev loves it there. They call it a proper golf course.
Shot maker. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
And I've been out on the golf course on days where it's been some of the worst weather you could imagine. The players 2 or 3 years ago, I remember
Yeah.
wind was blowing, 30 miles an hour sideways, and JT shot a bogey-free 66. And he is really good in bad weather.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I expect weather to be part of the story at Portrush, and I expect JT to pick up the claret jug.
Love that.
All right, hole number 6 on our first 9. No, hole number 7, 3 to play. We'll go with lift predictions. Lift predictions. We'll start with our team champ. Who's going to win the team championship in Live this year? And you're going to be able to see a lot of it on Fox because they just signed a new deal.
Correct. I'll go back to back. I think it is the Crushers led by Bryson DeChambeau to get it done for the team championship. I think they're the most consistent team. I think, we talk about the talent from 1 to 4, every week. That's who I would take.
And see, I feel like, maybe they're getting diminishing returns from a guy like Charles Howell, getting
Whoa.
a little bit older. He's my age. He's an old guy. So I feel like the youth infusion on Legion 23 with Tom McKibben coming in there. Terrell Hatton is a man on a mission trying to
old guy,
qualify
by
for
the
the
way.
Ryder Cup. You've got John Rahm. So Legion 23, by the way, nobody has won more than one title, either team or individual, in 3 seasons at Live. I expect that trend to continue. Legion 23, your team champion, and I expect Bryson to win the individual title this year on Live.
Okay. Okay.
Who's your individual champion?
Championship. I think we see a return of this man becoming who he is. I'm going to keep it in the Grayson family. I already picked him to win a major this year. I think it's Johnny Rahm.
Okay. So that would be a very good for my team pick, Legion 23, if he wins the individual title. So I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Hole number 8 in our first 9, sponsored by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce and Birdie Brands. We're going to go 12 months from now. What is new in the world of golf?
Yeah.
What will we be talking about January of 26?
I think, so I puzzled on this one because I think there's a lot of different ways to go. But I think we're talking about another record season for the LPGA, number one. I think we find the right commissioner who leads us and, corrects things that are wrong in the game and brings in new eyeballs. And I think also, too, what the PGA Tour Enterprises does now with their own studio, I think we're talking about a more daily build-out of media companies, what Pro Shop's doing with the Creator Classic. So I just think we're thinking more, unique ways, even if that's TGL, which we all know my feelings about. But I think you can go to PGA Tour Enterprises, whether it's YouTube, whether it's on your phone or an app, and look at a host of programming. I think is the number one thing we're talking about.
So to that point, we have PGA Tour on CBS and NBC. We have Live Now on Fox. We have TGL on ESPN. We have Golf Channel and its products that it owns, and it helps produce those PGA Tour events and LPGA Tour events throughout the year. So a very fractured landscape right now in golf television. And I believe next year we're going to be talking about the Men's Global Tour starting to unite those broadcasting rights. I think Greg Norman's vision of a global tour is finally going to come to fruition at some point in 2025. And this time next year, we're going to be talking about what the global tour looks like as they try to pull events from different tours and make it a 20 to 25 event schedule for all the top players to play each other. And that may coalesce some of the broadcasting as well. So I think we're going to see, we've seen fracture for 3 years. I think we're going to be talking unification in 2026. That's what I expect. And I think we might be talking about TGL fixing a few of the early bugs that we've seen, the simulator not quite working the way it should, not having competitive matches early on. I think all that's going to be resolved. And I think this time next year, we're going to be talking about TGL being the highest rated golf product on television.
Wow. Okay.
That's a bold prediction. Again, we'll clip this and we'll see how it ages. Now, our final hole on the first 9, 12 months from now, what is old? What will we not be talking about that seems to be getting all the headlines right now?
TGL.
Okay.
I think I think we're out on
You
TGA.
think it's done in a year? We're
I don't
not
think
talking about it
I don't think
anymore.
it's done in a year, but I don't think you're going to see the massive eyeballs that have been glued to it the first couple weeks. I think we're going to see diminishing returns. I think you're going to superstars are going to be out. I think they're going to try to backload it with maybe some LPGA blood, but I just think guys are going to get tired of it, and I think fans get tired of it first. So I think we're not talking about TGL next year.
I definitely think you're going to see a few tweaks. And I definitely have already predicted that it's the way it's modeled. It's perfect for live teams to come and compete a little bit. And it's perfect for some of these TGL squads to go and compete
Drew, what
on
are we
live.
not
And
talking
then
about next year?
the same with LPGA players. I think you get Nelly, Jess Corda coming in doing live. What we're not going to be talking about next year is what I talked about on hole number 8, the division in golf. We won't be talking about that. We'll be talking about unification. And boy, I don't know about everybody else, but I certainly would love to start talking about unification and what it looks like because we're already a niche sport.
Yeah.
And we don't need to fracture ourselves anymore. We need to come together and be one unified sport. The NBA is the NBA. You don't have, the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference going off and doing their own things.
Yeah.
You don't have the AFC and the NFC doing their own things. It's one unified spear aimed at getting as much eyeballs as they can get. Golf needs to copy that. And I think that's where a Theo Epstein comes in
Yeah.
and brings everybody together along with this new Live CEO. They come together. We bring it all together. Maybe we can't bring all the broadcasting together just yet, but golly, let's stop talking about division. Let's start talking about unification. Can't we all just get along?
Amen, brother. Amen.
All right, that's it for the first 9, sponsored by Uncle Keith's Red Sauce and sponsored by Birdie Brands. Game on, bugs gone. We'll be back with much more on my side of the bag.